Rob, who are you trashing on this Trash Talking Tuesday?
I got to trash the Eagles defense, Chris. I think you talked about it. Just poor tackling. It was hard to watch.
I think that's the worst tackling I've ever
right?
seen.
I mean, like they made contact with the playmakers, Chris, in the beginning, but they didn't bring them down. Like it wasn't like, oh, they were wide open downfield. They touched them right away and just couldn't bring them down. Couldn't make a play. It was very hard to watch. I agree with you. It was pretty bad. I'd say definitely.
All right, Rob, let's get to another team that lost yesterday, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think most people feel like they did a great job just to get in the playoffs. I mean, their quarterback play is atrocious. And that is not an overstatement. I mean, they just don't have it. They got some of the worst quarterback play in the league, but Mike Tomlin does it again. Gets them into the playoffs at 10-7. Yeah, they lost yesterday to a better team, period. I mean, there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Buffalo is straight up better, especially when T.J. Watt's out. T.J. Watt didn't play yesterday. So the Steelers had no chance, but they're going to war with Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky. I mean, they got to get a quarterback. But the big story, of course, was after the game, Mike Tomlin was asked by a reporter about his contract. He's got 1 year left, Rob, next season. But, it's rare that teams will have a coach go in the lame duck year. It happens. But you would think if they're going to keep Tomlin, if they want to keep him, they will offer him a long-term extension. And he didn't answer the question about his contract. He just walked off in a huff. So, Rob, were reports that he told the team today that he will be back next year. And I certainly don't think Mike Tomlin is a liar, but I also think he may be saying, look, I'm under contract for a year. And I certainly don't think he lied to the players, but it is true, right? If you got a year left on your deal, generally you're like, yeah, I got a year left. I mean, there was talk that maybe he'd walk away. Don't know that that's going to happen. But, yeah, I mean, Rob, the Steelers do not really fire coaches. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. That's how they do it, and that's been successful there for them. They've got as many Super Bowls as any other franchise in history. So where are you at on the Tomlin situation?
The time has come for the Pittsburgh Steelers to stop playing this. We don't fire coaches. We take care of guys, and they are coaches for a long time and all that. Stop it, Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin should be fired, Chris. If you're not going to extend him, which tells you that you have an issue at hand. He can't come in as a lame duck. Why is he coaching for his new contract if you just made the playoffs? You know why he's coaching for his new contract? Because the playoff drought continues 7 seasons without a postseason win.
Rob. We don't know that they're not going to.
I'm talking about right now. They could easily say, Chris, he's coming back. We're working on a new deal.
But you're saying they shouldn't offer him. Are you saying they should not?
They should not. Okay. N-O-T. 7 years without a playoff win. The longest by a Pittsburgh squad, Chris, since 1970. Steelers are 0-4 in the playoffs since 2017. And you're right. The quarterbacking is terrible. Let me tell you what else is terrible. Their defense is terrible. Allowing 41.5 points per game, Chris. 41.5.
What?
Yes.
You mean in the playoffs?
Yes.
Oh, in those 4 playoff games.
And those 4 playoff games, 0-4,
yeah,
41.5.
Their defense is bad.
Okay? With a negative 49-point differential and a negative 8 turnover differential in 4 games. All of them, Chris, are NFL worst since 2017, and that's per NFL research, okay? All I'm saying is you can play this game, and we're the Roonies.
That's over a 6-year period.
And we're running this like a mom and pop store and all that kind of stuff. These are horrific numbers. And maybe, just maybe, people have stopped listening to a guy who's been around so long without any results. Really? Yeah, I really believe that.
I couldn't disagree with you more.
I think that Mike Tomlin to me has
blood out of, is that the statement? Blood out of a turnip?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay, I got that right. Like, I mean, come on, Rob. Now, I did pick this team to make the playoffs, but I thought Kenny Pickett was going to mature. He was no better. And Rob, all Pittsburgh needs to do is get a QB. And I got the QB for them to go get. You know who it is? Russell Wilson. Go get Russell Wilson. I got some nice receivers for Russell Wilson to throw the football. Better receivers than he had in Denver. I'm not saying he's the old Russell Wilson, but I do still think can be a good, not great, but good quarterback. And he can throw it to George Pickens. He can throw it to Deontay Johnson. I got Najee Harris and Jalen Warren running the football. I got a defense that's stout. The reason they get blown out in the playoffs because they're not as good as the other teams. Tomlin's working miracles to get them to the playoffs. And then the cream rises to the top and they get beat. But man, this dude has in a league where you almost have to have a quarterback to be like a contender or a playoff team. He does it without a quarter. I mean, Roethlisberger, toward the end of his career, we know he wasn't great. And they've been just trying different guys, actually not even mediocre quarterbacks, basically second unit quarterbacks. They've had to start. And I'm telling you, go get Pittsburgh. Listen to it, brother. Go get Russell Wilson. You can get him cheap. He's still going to get his 35 to 40 million, whatever it is, from Denver if they cut him in March or before then. And then you can get him probably for the league minimum. Where's Russ going? Buffalo? No. Miami? No. New England, why would you go there? They need a quarterback, but why'd you go there? New York Jets? No. Baltimore? Cincinnati? Cleveland? No. Houston? Indianapolis? Jacksonville? No. Tennessee might want him, but no, they got Will Levis. Denver's going to be out. Kansas City, Raiders, why would you go there? Chargers? No. Like, that's just the AFC. I mean, there's only a few spaces for him. Atlanta? Washington? Why? Go to Pittsburgh. You got a great coach. You got a defense. You got a winning culture. You got running backs. You got receivers. Man, I think they do that. They should do that and keep Tomlin, Rob.
Yeah, I disagree. I just think sometimes a guy can be around too long. And everybody thought Russell Wilson was going to be the answer in Denver. Oh, they got this great defense. All you got to do is add a quarterback and add some water and stir, and let's give them a boatload of money, and Denver's going to the Super Bowl. That didn't happen. And all I'm saying is, Chris, if we're going to give Tomlin credit for not having a losing record ever and going to the playoffs and this and that, the performance, you're good enough to
what
make
about the talent?
You're good enough. I get it, but you're good enough to make the playoffs and win 10 games or 11 games. The year that they went, Chris, when they lost to the Browns and Baker Mayfield, they started the year 9-0 or 10-1, and then they were frauds.
They were frauds. We could see they were frauds. So you never, and I did. I was with you. We never believed in them because they weren't that good. Like, that's my point. He is taking teams that aren't that good and making them playoff teams. But once you get there, it's just like you hit the ceiling. We can't do it. We're not winning a playoff game with Mason Rudolph as our quarterback. Against Josh Allen? Who are we kidding?
I just think sometimes you hold on to coaches too long. Go look, Chris. You brought up Chuck Noll. Look at after he won those Super Bowls early, how long he went where they didn't win, Chris. They didn't win for a long time under Chuck Noll. I don't remember Bill Cowher's.
I agree, but they weren't even making the playoffs.
No, I'm just saying, but you didn't win, though.
Under Tomlin. Like, if Tomlin were to be on the market, I'd love to see, and I don't know if Philly will get rid of Sirianni, but if Tomlin got on the market, Rob, and Sirianni was gone in Philly, that's where I'd like to see Tomlin. I'd like to see Belichick in Dallas, Tomlin in Philly. Vrabel can go to Atlanta or Washington, and Harbaugh to the Chargers. And I'm assuming at this point Buffalo will keep McDermott. We'll see. But
well, yeah, I mean, I think the way that the season is shaped up.
So you think if they lose to Kansas City, and I get it, you lose to the defending champions, then no shame in that.
I don't think it'd be
that's
the
what
end of
I would look at.
But
Rob.
that game is at home. No,
It's
this
in
is their
Buffalo.
chance, and this is their chance. And
they're supposed to, Rob, they're supposed to be a Super Bowl team.
Yep.
And if you don't beat Kansas City now, when their offense
You'll
is
never
down,
beat them.
Right, when you beat them. So you got them in Buffalo, their offense is down. So I'm saying if they don't win against Kansas City, again, not that McDermott's a bad coach, but we might need a culture shift. So but I disagree with you on Tomlin. I think the dude is phenomenal. I don't think he's going stale. I just think they need a quarterback. You need a quarterback in this league in most cases to have a chance to win.